I'm Stephanie, and welcome to Books and Bubbly. This is the playlist where I review books that I get all bubbly about. And today I'm going to be reviewing You're Invited by Amanda Giatisa. Sincere apologies if I am butchering that last name. Warning, there are going to be spoilers in this review, so if you want a spoiler-free review, check out my August reading room video where I do talk about this book. So I got this as an add-on to my August book of the month, as the premise sounded really good. It sounded kind of like Crazy Rich Asians with a missing bride and a bloody crime scene. But let's go ahead and read the inside jacket cover copy to see what the book promised first. When Amaya is invited to Kavi's, and apologies again if I'm saying any of these names wrong, Kavi's over-the-top wedding in Sri Lanka, she is surprised and a little hurt to hear from her former best friend after so many years of radio silence. But when Amaya learns that the groom is her very own ex-boyfriend, she is consumed by a single thought. She must stop the wedding from happening, no matter the cost. But as the week of the wedding celebrations begins, and rumors about Amaya's past begin to swirl, she can't help but feel like she also has a target on her back. When Kavi goes missing and is presumed dead, all evidence points to Amaya. However, nothing is as it seems as Giatisa expertly unravels that each wedding guest has their own dark secret and agenda, and Amaya might not be the only one with a plan to keep the bride from getting her happily ever after. So, all in, I really liked this. It really held my attention. I kept having to get back to reading it, and it was really well paced. There were some things that were predictable and easy to guess at, but I still really enjoyed seeing how the story unfolded and how everything played out. I was really intrigued by our main character, Amaya, as we know right off the bat that something is wrong with her. But we want to understand how she became what we start with. So you don't really know if you can trust her or not. She's very off-putting, a wee bit obsessed, and has fantasies of those around her being hurt. And you kind of have to start to question, like, is she capable of hurting them and living out those fantasies? Or are they just intrusive thoughts and she can't control it? So I'm going to give a trigger warning, as there is self-harm in this book, so just take care of yourself and avoid this if that could be hard for you to read. So I do have a bone to pick with the publishers or the marketing team who helped with this cover, as it says she'll wish she had never RSVP'd. That's the whole premise. Amaya didn't RSVP. Like, she was kind of invited at the last minute. Good job, marketing. I also really like Giatisa's writing style. It's captivating, and she does a great job at capturing people's real speech patterns and making each character distinct. Like, I didn't even have to read like the dialogue tags to know who was saying what. This was done especially well in the transcripts of the interviews with the other wedding guests. The interviews also make you question every character, as multiple people are hiding secrets, doing things they shouldn't, and have maybe said they wish that Kavi, the bride, was dead. Like, there's a lot of suspects at play, and you can understand it, and again, you're already kind of in an unreliable narrator's head, but maybe she actually is reliable. The characters in this are complex and seriously flawed, and a lot of the story focuses on family, reputation, and how well you know someone, and the ability to, like, put on a mask, and essentially, like, who are we really when the spotlight isn't on us and we don't have to perform? I also really liked how the story showed the traumatic results of the fallout between Kavi and Amaya, and that loss of friendship between the women. Like, losing a friend is a rough thing, especially in how much it changed these women. It was like they lost their personalities or swapped them as they lost each other. So, something that I didn't exactly like is I was a bit conflicted about the portrayal of Kavi as an influencer. Like, I think it worked well showing her, like, taking her photos and planning out her content in her head. But I also felt disconnected from it. And maybe that's the point. Like, Kavi doesn't seem to care and actually seems to actively hate her followers. But then why do it? It doesn't seem like she does it because she likes the lifestyle or needs brand deals for money or access to high fashion or travel. So why is she so invested in this if she doesn't care? It was hard to take that part seriously, as she doesn't care, so why should I? Like I said earlier, the pacing really worked well in this, and I never felt bored or felt like I wanted this story to just like hurry the hell up. I do think the interview interludes really helped the story, as it didn't have to add like extra scenes to get information across, or it didn't slow the story down. Worse, it didn't have to force our protagonist to have like superpowers as she overhears information or gets secrets out of people when like truly no one else in the book really likes her. I do wish we had a clearer picture of the setting, as I liked that it was based in Sri Lanka, but having never been there before, I'd have appreciated a bit more like setup and description so I could better envision like the hotel, the houses, the overall Colombo setting. I just felt a little lost picturing where all of this was taking place. Though I do think that the culture and social hierarchy was described really well in this, and it helped develop the story a bit more. It was an interesting look at the Sri Lankan culture. Like I also said earlier, there were a few things that were just a bit too predictable, and you could kind of see the twists coming from a mile away. Plus, I think Jayatissa went the way of adding one twist too many, and it kind of undoes the solid mystery. I think had we left with like one major twist, would have been great. But it kind of feels like publishers these days for thrillers are like acting like Oprah, like you need a twist, and you need a second twist, and you need a third twist, and a fourth twist, and a fifth, and just give me an actual story. And now that I'm kind of ranting about it a little bit, like this is one of those books that I closed feeling satisfied with, but the more I think about it, the more illogical some of it feels, and some of the things feel like they were just written to be misdirects instead of leading into the plot. Also, one of the major twists like hinges on a character jumping to conclusions and like not even pausing to think about it, and that felt a bit forced. And one of the twists at the end just felt really off and really jumped outside the book's tone. Like it kind of felt like it was just added to ramp up the ick factor, but I didn't really see it played out in any meaningful way besides to seal the deal about Spencer being a terrible human being. I already got that. He sucked. The nasty cherry on top was not needed. So again, trigger warning about this book, but Spencer turns out to be a PEDO file. It's not explicitly described, but it is mentioned. And speaking of Spencer, it was not a surprise that Nadia is actually Amaya's daughter, but I wasn't clear if she was Spencer's kid too, because they don't allude to the fact that she looks mixed or anything. And then there's the whole like, why is Amaya leaving her with him? Like, is she worried he's gonna go after his own daughter? Like, I don't know. It felt weird, and it also didn't work just in the story, as Amaya acts like she doesn't know who Nadia is, but we're in her head in first person point of view. It doesn't work like that. Like, just the lengths and like the bending over backwards she has to do to make sure that she's not like, oh, there's my daughter, like, that I abandoned. Like, she's just, oh, there's little Nadia, and like, you know, I know. I already knew. I predicted that twist as soon as she was mentioned. But again, I'm curious why she had to leave her with that family. I understand, like, setting her up for success. But again, was she really worried that Spencer was going to hurt his own child? Like, perhaps, but it just read really weird. Like I said, I really hated the revelations about Spencer. It didn't feel like it was weaved into the story, and kind of just plopped in to like make him gross and add just kind of like a ooh factor to the story that didn't need it. Spencer was already weird and a creep, and like it wasn't needed. It wasn't. You can let him be weird without making him like go down that path. I know I have a few bones to pick with this book, but all in, I still really enjoyed my time with this, and it was a book I did not want to put down. It read exactly like what it set out to be. It was a good mystery, and things aren't what they seem, and it's not because our main character is simply making dumb decision after dumb decision or hiding things from the reader, minus the Nadia reveal. We know something is off about Amaya, but the question is she in control of it, or is it in control of her? I rated this 4 out of 5 stars, and I still stand by that rating. This reads more like a psychological thriller or a domestic drama than a typical like whodunit or whydunit thriller. But that's a reason I liked it, because everyone was suspicious and everyone had something to gain from Kavi going bye-bye. So that does mean the pace might feel slower to some readers, but I still really enjoyed my time with this. I actually also bought My Sweet Girl by Amanda J. Atisa, and I'm really hoping that I love this one as well. But if you have any book recs that kind of follow the premise of like a murder mystery at a wedding, please let me know about them in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching Books and Bubbly, and I'll see you next time.